Listen closely, because sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one who believes they're entitled to everything and responsible for nothing. That day, in a small, elegant boutique tucked between glass towers and polished sidewalks, a mother walked in with her child, not to admire, not to learn, but to conquer. People sensed it instantly. Her voice was loud, sharp, carved with entitlement. Her heels clicked like warnings. You could feel the room shrinking around her. Her son, maybe 7 years old, ran wild the moment his sneakers touched the glossy floor. Tiny hands grabbing jewelry trays, brushing expensive fabrics, tossing little displays like they were toys. And she didn't flinch, not once. She watched him scatter everything like confetti, smirking, as if destruction was his birthright. The store clerk, Elena, approached with a soft tone, the kind you use when you want to protect peace without breaking it. Hi there, if you need help, I'm happy to assist. When the jewelry hit the floor, it wasn't just merchandise that shattered. It was the thin illusion of respect holding the room together. Elena bent down to gather the fallen pieces carefully, her hands trembling, not from fear, but from the heaviness of humiliation. She'd seen messy children before. She'd seen stressed parents. But this was different. Karen didn't apologize. She didn't offer to help. She didn't even look bothered. She scrolled on her phone, laughing at a message, while her son kicked a scarf like a soccer ball. A man watching from across the room shook his head. "Mom, maybe keep an eye on him," he said gently. Karen turned like a flame, locking eyes with him. "Are you telling me how to parent?" He held his ground, calm and rational. "No, just asking for respect. She's working." But Karen didn't hear those words. People like her never do. They hear only threats to their authority. Their ego isn't just fragile, it's hungry, it feeds on challenge. And right now, she smelled a challenge. She stepped closer to the man. "This store makes more in a day than you've probably seen in a year. They can afford a few scratches." He blinked, not angry, just disappointed, because that sentence revealed her entire psychology. In her mind, what Karen didn't know was that behind Elena's quiet posture lived a resilience forged in fire. Years ago, Elena left her country with nothing but a suitcase and a promise to her mother that she would build a life where dignity didn't depend on wealth. So when chaos struck, she didn't crumble. She observed, she remembered, she strategized. The manager finally arrived, a tall man named Victor who carried the tired dignity of someone who has seen too much arrogance. He took one look at the shattered vase, the messy displays, the crying kid, and the smirking Karen. "What happened here?" he asked. Karen spoke first, of course. People like her always rush to shape the narrative. "They left decorations on the floor. My son almost got hurt. We demand an apology and compensation." Her voice was steady, her confidence frighteningly rehearsed. Eleanor stayed silent, hands folded behind her apron. Victor nodded slowly. The walk to the security room felt longer than it should. Not because of distance, but because every step carried the weight of pride, lies, and consequences. Karen strutted ahead, chin high, heels clicking like a declaration of victory. Elena followed quietly, her hands clasped, but there was no fear in her eyes, only a steady resolve. Victor unlocked the door. The hum of monitors filled the silence. Rows of little digital windows captured everything. Every footstep, every careless gesture, every truth people wished remained hidden. He scrolled to the time frame, pressed play. There it was, crystal clear. The boy running wild, climbing the platform, kicking items off shelves. Then, the vase, falling, shattering. Elna moved into the frame, rushing to clean, kneeling, protecting the child from glass. Karen barely glanced. She was too busy on her phone. Victor paused the video. There are moments in life when time slows, not because the world is quiet, but because the truth has finally cornered someone who has spent years running from it. Karen stood still. Her son clung to her sleeve, eyes wide, finally sensing the tension his mother pretended didn't exist. Victor repeated calmly, "The vase must be paid for." Nothing dramatic, no anger, just accountability. And accountability to someone who has avoided it their entire life feels like an attack. Karen's pride flared. That vase wasn't worth anything. It's practically junk. But her voice wavered, because deep down, she knew the money wasn't the issue. It was the symbolism. Paying meant admitting fault. Admitting fault meant losing power, and losing power was her biggest fear. The crowd watched, not with cruelty, but with a quiet hope that fairness still existed. Elena stood beside Victor, not triumphant, not vindictive, just present. She'd been humiliated, blamed, insulted, and still treated Karen with respect. That kind of grace is rare. Elena noticed the boy looking at her with confusion and guilt. She knelt down to his height. "It's okay," she said softly. "Mistakes happen. What matters is what we learn from them." Her tone wasn't angry, it was compassionate. And compassion is a language children understand even when adults don't. Karen saw this, and something twisted inside her. For a second, very brief, her mask slipped, because she saw a version of motherhood she couldn't match, one built on love, not control. But then she snapped back. "Get away from him," she snapped. Elena stood, unbothered. Victor handed a small clipboard with the invoice. Nothing exaggerated, just the cost of the vase. Karen stared at it. When Karen signed the receipt, it felt like the air finally exhaled. The room loosened, as if the tension, the pride, the accusation, the false superiority began to dissolve. She grabbed her son's hand and turned toward the exit, shoulders tight, steps fast, like she could outrun the truth still clinging to her skin. But just as she reached the door, her son stopped. He looked back at Elena. "Thank you," he whispered. Two small words with more weight than everything his mother had said all day. Karen froze. Her eyes widened, not in anger, but in something like shock. Because children see what adults deny. They feel energy long before they understand language. For a heartbeat, the mother and son stood there, caught between two worlds, one built on ego, the other on empathy. Then Karen pulled him away. The door closed behind them, and silence returned. Victor turned to Elena. "You handled that with grace," he said. She smiled, though her hands still shook a little. "It's hard, when someone uses their voice to make you feel small. But here's the truth most men overlook. A woman's strength is rarely loud. It shows up in the way she stays calm when someone tries to shame her, in the way she protects dignity instead of pride, in the way she teaches compassion even to strangers' children." Later that evening, as Elena cleaned the last corner of the display, she found a small bracelet tucked behind a box. A child's bracelet, cheap, plastic, with little blue stars. She held it for a moment, thinking of the boy, thinking of how he had thanked her while living with a parent who taught him shame instead of humility. She didn't judge him. She only felt hope. Because sometimes, even in a chaotic world, a single moment of kindness plants a seed that grows quietly for years. The next day, the store received a small envelope. Inside was a note, written in shaky handwriting. "I'm sorry I broke the vase," and taped to the paper was the cost of the vase in cash. No name, no signature, but Elena knew who it came from, not the mother, the son. Because character isn't inherited, it's built, choice by choice. And maybe, just maybe, that boy will grow into a man who treats people with the dignity his mother never learned. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been judged or mistreated by someone who thought they were better than you? Tell me in the comments. And if this story moved you, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear it today.